Hello everybody and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I wanted to leave you a couple of videos whilst I am away on holiday, and this one is going to be my Premier League underrated 11. So I'm going to be going through, it's a 4-3-3 formation. I'm going to be going through 11 players which I think are really underrated and need to be spoke about more in the Premier League. And let's start things off with the goalkeeper, of course. And my goalkeeper choice is David Raya. Now, I think David Raya needs to be spoken about more, to be honest. Thomas Frank clearly rates him. There was a time where he said that they'd only accept £40 million for him, and I do think that's very justified. If you look at the stats, he's very high up when it comes to goalkeeper saves, and he also does well at claiming his area as well. He's very confident at claiming his area, and he's very high up when it comes to goalkeeper claims as well, to further back that up. I think he's a great shot stopper. I think he can do an awful lot. And I think, we look at the attacking players as to why Brentford are so high up this season. But I think a lot of it also has to do with the man between the sticks. So David Raya is starting it off, my goalkeeper in my Premier League underrated 11. Let's move on and speak about a right back. And I want to throw out this man's name. It might be one where, guys, you might disagree, but I'm going to go for Dalot, and it's probably not the best time to choose him after recent results with Manchester United at the time of recording, but I do feel he's maybe a little bit disrespected. He always seems to be the one where people are speaking about who Ten Hag might want to change and who, Manchester United might want to get rid of. He always comes up. I feel it's a little bit unfair. I do think he's a very good defensive player. In fact, he was linked with Dortmund, I think, in January. And I think he has a lot of good defensive stats. Maybe you could say that attacking, he maybe needs to offer a little more to Manchester United. But overall, I think he's a very solid player within the squad. And I do think he's probably the only Manchester United that does deserve just a little bit more respect. Let's move on to my first centre-back choice. And we do say the best things in life are free. And that can be said for this man on screen, Ben Mee. In fact, he's my second Brentford choice of this video. And for good reason, because when he did get, obviously, a move from Burnley to Brentford on a free transfer in the summer, it wasn't really massively spoke about a lot, but I think he's been an absolutely fantastic addition to the Brentford squad. Another thing that has made them so reliable this season. I think he commands the defence very well, and of course having David Raya behind him can only help. But I think those two key additions are why we see Brentford so high up the table this season, because they really have helped out when it comes to the defensive work. And I think they're two players which the spotlight should be shone more on when it comes to Brentford and how well they're doing this season. As always, guys, just a quick one from me before we get back to the video. If you are enjoying the video, please do me a massive favour, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. And let's get back to my underrated Premier League 11. Let's move on to my next choice, and it's another team that has been doing really well. It's Fulham's centre-back, Tim Ream. Now, he's been started to get a little bit spoken about in recent weeks, but I do think there needs to be some more spotlight shone on him. At 35 years old, he's arguably having his best ever season. One person that did pay him a compliment recently was Pep Guardiola, and he said, look, if he was 24 years old, he'd be playing for me. But he doesn't look like age at the moment is really affecting him. As I say, probably his best season that we've seen of him within the Premier League. He's my first USA edition. There is going to be one more coming up shortly as well. So there's a lot of love for the United States in this video. But I think he's just having an absolute fantastic season, really leading that defensive line as well. And I think his experience and just his overall game has been really vital to the side and season that Fulham are having. Let's move on to my left back choice, and I've gone for another Brentford player. I'm showing a lot of love for Brentford in this video. To be honest, when I was picking my underrated 11, I didn't even realise. But yeah, I think this is the last of my Brentford editions, but I've gone for Rico Henry. 1.5 million signing. That's all he cost when he did join Brentford. I think he's been a brilliant addition to the squad for a period of time, to be honest. And maybe the whole of that Brentford backline needs to have more love shown. Have I missed out anyone so far, guys? As always, do let me know in the comments. And I did say that there was going to be another man from the USA, and it is Leeds Tyler Adams. Of course, he joined the club in the summer, and he did have the hard task of replacing an outgoing Calvin Phillips. That was always going to be a hard task to do, but I think he's been really fantastic for this Leeds team, which hasn't performed obviously well over the course of the season. But I think he's been one of the main stars. I think his overall midfield game has been brilliant. He's a great defensive midfielder, and I think he had to make my underrated 11 as well. Let's talk about another man, and it could only be, and it is my love, Ruben Neves. Because Ruben Neves, for me, is just nowhere near spoke about enough. I mean, we see Mateus Nunes being spoken a lot from a Wolves side, potentially going to the likes of Liverpool, Manchester City. Look, for the likes of Liverpool that want a rebuild, a midfield, the first man I'll be looking at is Ruben Neves. Of course, he's known for his fantastic goals, which he does from time to time. But that's where I feel the compliments from the media seem to end. He's absolutely fantastic, and maybe enough light doesn't get shone on him because of obviously Wolves not scoring a lot of goals. But that fault really doesn't lie with Neves. He springs 40-yard passes for fun. He can do some absolutely magical things. And in all honesty, as a Wolves fan, he belongs at a bigger club. He honestly does. He deserves to be at the very, very top of world football, competing for the likes of the titles in whichever league he may go, and also competing in the Champions League. He deserves the spotlight shone on him. I do kind of hope that, although I want to selfishly keep him, at the same time, I do hope he eventually gets a massive move to a bigger club where everyone can see exactly what this man can do. So he had to go in my underrated 11 because I purely don't think enough love is shown towards him.
Hi guys, we quickly want to tell you about Gambles, a revolutionary new crypto casino that is about to change the game. Gambles allows you to play all of your favorite slots and live casino games using crypto. Very soon, Gambles will also be launching its very own sportsbook where you can take advantage of the best odds for your favorite sports and also take advantage of the rake back system that rewards you for the more you play.
So guys, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to create your account to get your deposit bonus from Sweet and Sour Soccer. Let's move on to Everton now. Probably not many players that I could put in with this Everton team of this season, but the one man that I had to put in and my last centre mid choosing was Onana. I think he's been absolutely brilliant this season. It's his first season, obviously, in the Premier League at just 21 years of age. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's strong in the centre of park. He can carry the ball well. And, the moment I saw him, actually, first game of the season, I thought, wow, Everton have got a hell of a signing here. And at the time, I thought Everton were obviously destined for great things that season with Onana in the team. Unfortunately, that hasn't materialised, but let's not take that anything away from this man. First season in the Premier League at such a young age. I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. I think whether Everton stay up or not, we're going to see him in the Premier League for many, many more years. And I think if Everton do, unfortunately, go down, there's going to be absolutely loads of clubs dying to take this man away because he's just been the star of the show for Everton this season and probably one of the only players that can really hang their heads high at the moment. So let's move on to my forward line now. Bear with me. Before you start typing away, please bear with me. Bukayo Saka, of course he's loved in the media. He's loved with Arsenal fans. But for me, not loved enough. I really do still think he's massively underrated. I still think we see a lot of people comparing him with Phil Foden, saying that Phil Foden's better. Come off it. Come off it. This guy is always consistent at just 21 years of age. At the moment, 10 goals, 5 assists in the Premier League. And everything that Arsenal do well, he's always at the centre of it. He's already a leader. And name me one thing that this man cannot do. He can get assists. He can score. He can defend. In fact, I'd go far as saying for overall game, he's probably the best in the world at the moment for his overall complete game. Because you look at the players that are admittedly better of him and obviously more deserving of the Ballon d'Or. You'd name the likes of Mbappe. Okay, brilliant dribbler, brilliant finisher. Defensively, I'd rather have Saka. You'd name Haaland. Haaland, fantastic finisher. Obviously has some faults in his game. Saka, for me, I'm not saying he's at that level when it comes to obviously the Mbappes and the Haalands, but for me, he is just under. And I do think one thing you can say about Bukayo Saka is he keeps improving year on year on year. He's not showing any signs of stalling. And I do think one day this man will grab the Ballon d'Or, and he'll be the first English player to do that since Michael Owen. And I really do feel we should be more excited about him as the overall consensus. My next choice is Solly March from Brighton. And to be fair, the whole of Brighton's team has been praised this season for doing well. But maybe the one of the players which I think does deserve a little more love is Solly March. Obviously, 5 goals, 4 assists this season. He's brilliant at crossing. He's brilliant at the through balls. And for me, he always seems to make the key pass, even if it isn't the assist, even if it's just building up the play. He always seems to be in and amongst there. His overall game is fantastic. And I had to put him on that left-hand side because for me, I think he is underrated. And I think that is mainly due to obviously to players like Matona, Caicedo, who have had fantastic seasons for Brighton and maybe just grabbed a little bit of that more of that spotlight because there's only so much spotlight that does get shone on Brighton. But for me, Marsh has to go in the team. Now, last one, another potentially controversial one, Darwin Núñez. Now, people could say, but Scott, he's been playing more as a winger, but we have seen him play as both a striker and a winger. So I did kind of maybe a little bit cheat and put him in that striker position. But look, he has played quite a lot of games in that striker position for Liverpool, and there's no doubt that he can play both positions. The reason I put him in as an underrated player is because a lot of spotlight was shone on him when he come to the Premier League. Obviously, a big money signing, and he was instantly compared to Haaland, which I felt was really unfair because Darwin Núñez had only had one breakthrough season at Benfica. We'd already seen Haaland have a number of seasons at obviously Dortmund, and I did feel those comparisons were a little bit unfair. Of late, he's really started to step up his game. He's starting to get goals. He's starting to play assists. And as that Liverpool team have started to get more confidence, so has this man as well. Of course, we have seen him miss some big chances, but he's only a young player, let's not forget. And he's a young player that's come to do his trade in the Premier League. We tend to forget players like Jamie Vardy, the likes of Harry Kane, who are obviously at the Harry Kane, more importantly, at the very top of what they're doing. Didn't mature until a much later age. And to come to the Premier League and do what he's doing at this age, I honestly think he's doing absolutely fantastic. And I do think there is an element of where we've just been a little bit too harsh on him. And I do think that's probably due to the comparisons that are being constantly made with Haaland. But guys, that is my 11. Please do let me know in the comments what your underrated 11 would be. Let's just say use the same formation as me. You've got to go for a 4-3-3 formation. So get your opinions in the comments. Did I miss someone completely? I probably have. So do let me know. Have I showed too much love to Brentford? And guys, if you have liked the video, as always, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next video. Take care. Goodbye.